What is going on, everyone? Now, I'm excited about this lesson. I'm actually excited about every lesson that I do put up and upload. And the reason is because I'm able to pour out into others what I've learned over the years of my extensive playing. And today we're going to be talking about the major scale. Don't switch, don't turn off this video. Just stay tuned, and it's really going to help you. So, my name is Rudy, and I'm a faith-based guitarist. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And if you're returning, welcome home. So, today's lesson is going to be about the major scale. And I'm also going to throw in the number system. And I'm going to do a separate video about the number system because it's very, very vital, especially as a church musician, someone that plays in a band, or not even a church musician, just a musician in general, a guitarist, and you want to be able to communicate very clearly with your bandmates and your fellow musicians. So let's dive right into it. So the major scale. Now, the major scale sounds boring, right? It's simple, it's 8 notes, and it's just very, very straightforward. But the major scale is very, very important because all of the Western music, everything is based off of the major scale. Now, when you think about the major scale, you're probably referring to a certain sound, right? You're probably thinking about a certain sound. And if you're not, I'm going to encourage you to memorize the sound of the major scale. So first, let's hear the major scale. What does it sound like? Okay? So this is the major scale on the guitar. That is a major scale, and it is just one octave. If you're not too familiar with what an octave is basically 8 steps, right? Like an octopus. Octopus has 8 legs. A major scale has 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then back to the 1. So the 1 and the 8 are the same note. So remember those numbers. Those numbers are going to be very important, especially regarding the number system, okay? So the major scale has 8 steps, and these steps help us create the major scale. And we'll get into what steps those are, okay? So the major scale is the basis of most chords, scales, and American music. The major scale has a certain sound that you really want to just get in you. And what I mean by that, you want to be able to recognize it. As soon as someone like sings a major scale or hums a major scale, or someone plays a major scale, you want to be able to like, boom, just get it. And you want to be able to hear it. Because the major scale has a certain sound that everything else different from it is noticeable. Even if you change one note of the major scale, which is what other scales are or other chords are, they're just scales and chords that are based off the major scale that have a note or two altered from the major scale. And, the minor scale, we won't go over that today. That'd be a different lesson. But the major scale has 8 steps. I mentioned they have 8 steps. And these steps are all half steps and whole steps. We'll go over that real soon. So the guitar is spaced out in half steps. So what does that mean? It means from one fret to the next is a half step. Okay? Remember that. Half step. Now, a whole step is 2 frets, right? Half, whole. And this will probably look a little bit easier here. Half, whole. Okay? So remember these 2 steps, half and whole. So from one note to the next is a half step. We've already established that, right? And the very, very first note of a scale is the root or the tonic. This is basically the start of your scale. In this case, in this lesson, we're going over just the C major scale. The cool thing is about guitar is that it's a lot of patterns and repetition and scales, scale patterns that are movable. The same thing with chords. A lot of the chords are movable. So this particular pattern here is movable, and it's a very basic foundational pattern that I like to teach my students. But I also like to teach them to break out of that as well, out of patterns as well. And that's one of the reasons why I always emphasize learn the sound of the major scale, so it helps you play the major scale anywhere on the neck. So this is the root C. We're going to be playing in C. Now the major scale has a formula, and we're going to go over this formula really quick. And the formula is, we're going to start with the tonic, which is the very first one. And we're going to play this on one string. The reason I like to teach this way is because you can see it in a line, linearly, right? One line. And we're going to base this particular scale, the C major scale, on the 5th string. And we're going to start on the 3rd fret. Now you can play the major scale anywhere once you realize how it's built. And you can step away from the patterns that you can find in a book or online or something. I like to teach this because it allows you to play the major scale anywhere on the neck. And you're not so confined. I don't know if you've ever heard the term, I'm just stuck in the box, right? That's referring to like the major pentatonic scale. And a lot of times, and it's all right. I did the same thing, learned the minor pentatonic scale, right? And just play in between that, right? And that's okay. But if you want to break out of that, we need to step back and look at how scales are built, how a major scale is built. So we start off with the tonic, and the tonic is your root. This is your starting point. This is the starting line. Now, from there, we go a whole step. Remember, a whole step is 2 frets. So and then after that, we go another whole step, and then a half step, and then a whole step, and then a whole step, and then a whole step, and then a half step. So playing that one right after the other. And that is the major scale on one string. It sounds the same as. And there it is. So that's the sound that you want to hear when you're playing it. Now, stepping away from the pattern, which is fine with just learning patterns. But if you want to break out of that particular shape or pattern, play it on one string. And this is what I always challenge my students to play is, can you play that major scale or that minor scale or that pentatonic on one string? So you can even go beyond the octave if your guitar allows it to. But play that scale on different strings as well. Well, where's the C on this one? Oh, it's right here on the 4th string. Right? Okay, where's on the 3rd string? 2nd string. And you want to hear that sound, not just play it or follow the formula of the major scale, but also be able to hear it. See, I messed up there and I was like, oh, okay, I know that doesn't sound right. So and you can be more expressive with playing that scale on one string. That's why I love to teach learning the scale on one string. And then once you're comfortable with playing the major scale on each string, you can start to skip strings or go on to other strings. So starting on the second string here. And then from there, you can start to implement, all the triads, because you know where all the C's are at now. C, right? C. And it opens up the fretboard. So in a nutshell, that's the major scale. You want to recognize the sound of the major scale. You want to memorize the formula, which will be provided for you. You'll be able to see it on the screen, or I'll provide a PDF for you to download, so you can have that for forever, if you choose to. And I really hope that you do download the PDF material for this particular lesson. It's a really simple lesson. It's really just an introduction to the major scale and how I love to teach the major scale for beginner students, and how to break out of the pattern as well. I like to teach, I guess, the rules and the theory, and then how to take that and kind of add your own little sauce on it, your little twist on it, the way you want to play. And learning the fretboard allows you to play the way you want to play, as opposed to just being stuck in between just patterns, and there's nothing wrong with that. I did the same thing growing up, learning my scales, my chords. I learned all the patterns and I learned all the shapes and stuff, but not until I really broke out of that is where I started to, I guess, create more melodic stuff, more music. And that's what we're doing, right? We want to play music. We want to play guitar. We don't want to just play patterns and, recite theory all day. But it is good. I tell my students all the time that a little bit of theory goes a long way. And this is part of it. This is like a little bit of that theory, and it goes a long way, believe me. So take what you've learned here, apply it to what you already know. Let's say you already know the major scale and you're maybe intermediate. Take the scales you already know and learn it on one string. On top of that, learn the number system. If you don't know the number system, that is something very, very valuable. I still, after even 22 plus years of playing guitar, I still use the number system daily, whether it's transcribing charts or transcribing songs, for rehearsals and stuff, or in the middle of a song where maybe we're not familiar with, like I said, I'm a church musician, faith-based guitarist, and sometimes the worship leader is singing a song, and then sometimes we want to go old school and sing a song that we haven't sang in this generation. Maybe it's an older generation song, and everyone's familiar with it, so they just start calling out numbers, and we already know our numbers in this particular key, and then it just helps out. It helps communicate clearly. But just to touch up on it really, really fast, the number system is basically a system of numbers that correspond to a particular key, or any key, actually. Let's stick with C. Now C, the C major scale, in this key, each of those chords diatonically have a chord. These notes stack in thirds, and then you have a chord like the C major, right? Well, each note is a root of a chord. So in this case, the 1 would be a major. That major, this first chord, we put this first major chord, we'll assign the 1 to it, because we're in the key of C, right? And then there's D, and then E, F, G, A, B, C. Now all those chords have a chord quality to them, like a major or minor or a diminished, like C, F, and G, 1, 4, 5. those are majors. 2, 3, and 6 are minors. That's a little bit more of theory, really quick. And then the 7 diatonically is just a diminished chord. So C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, B is 7, and then the octave, which is C again, which is 8. And we'll call it out like that. Like, for example, there's this song called Our God, and it goes, I'm just playing a really simple chord progression from it. Actually, I'm playing really simply for the sake of the lesson. So it goes from 6, which is the A minor, to the 4, which is F major, to the 1, which is 1 major, right, to the 5, which is G major. And that is how we perceive the key in a song. And let's say you wanted to transpose up a whole step. It's the same thing. Well, what's 6 in the key of D? Well, there's the B minor, there's the 4, the 1 to the 5, so 6. Really simple example. We're using really simple chords, but that's basically how the number system helps, even when you transpose keys. So that is the lesson. I really hope you enjoyed it. If I went a little bit too fast, in the comments, say, please slow it down. I've had a few people say that on a couple other lessons or videos that I've had. Hey, can you just break it down a little bit more, slow it down a bit more? And I have no problem with that. So before this lesson's out, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment if this really helped you out, this blessed you, if this inspired you to learn more music theory and kind of break out of the traditional boxes of scales and block chords or bar chords. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this lesson. If this is something, let's say you're a beginner guitarist and this is something that you're looking for, especially the way I teach, I want to invite you to my online beginner guitar course, which I do have, and it is available for you right now. And the cool thing is that you'll have updates. You'll have access to all the updates and updated materials as well. It has downloadable PDFs and stuff. Stuff that's very familiar, very similar to what you're going to get in this lesson. I'm going to have a PDF for you guys as well. And it really breaks down everything exactly what I did. And we go over rhythm, we go over harmony, and just the foundational stuff that every beginner guitar should have, especially if you're at year 0, if you're barely picking up a guitar. This is just for you. So I'll have a link for that in the bottom here for you to check out. And if you're an advanced guitarist, intermediate guitarist, I give lessons as well, private lessons online, and I would love to connect. I would love to collaborate. I would love to just pour out what I have. Someone did that for me. Many people have done that for me in the past and still do, and I would love to do that for you as well. So like this video, leave a comment, and if you want more lessons like this, please let me know. I would love to just continue doing this, and it really helps and encourages me when I hear from you guys. So I'll see you guys soon, and talk to you later.